Welcome back to Cancel Weekly. I'm Mickey Gall. It's Candace Horback, Gerard motherfucking Michaels. Today on Cancel Weekly, we got a lot of exciting stuff. Check it out.
Yeah, we're going to do all the clips that we didn't do in the last episode when I got a good, thorough tongue lashing. And I liked it.
The first one, we have cats and criminals. Do we believe in reform?
In this prison, adopting a cat was considered an honor among the inmates. Those who couldn't adopt a cat were looked down upon. The prison started a cat rescue program, allowing inmates to earn the chance to adopt a cat through good behavior. Initially, people opposed the idea, fearing that inmates might mistreat the cats. However, with many stray cats facing euthanasia, the warden decided to give it a try. From then on, a wave of cat adoptions swept through the prison. The inmates worked hard just to be able to adopt a cute little cat. They spent all their earnings on cat food and supplies. These tough guys would gather to share cat care tips and would only fight if another inmate said their cat wasn't cute. For them, the harshest punishment was having their cats taken away. When they were released, their cats went home with them. One man, who had been in and out of prison 5 times, vowed never to return because he didn't want to leave his cat.
I love that story so much, and I know you're probably going to make fun of me, but I just see like the little toddler inside all of them. And I think there are obviously cases where reform shouldn't even be an option. Like being able to come back into society probably is not an option. But I think for a lot of especially petty crimes, it's so silly the way that we treat people. Like you go and you do this time.
It's barbaric.
And then you have a permanent record and then you cannot integrate back into society. So you're forced to continue crime and none of it makes sense. So it's either we believe in reform or we don't, with the exception of like really violent crimes. I think that is bye-bye. You can't play with us anymore. But when I see this, it just shows like such a longing for connection and purpose. And if you give someone like a responsibility and something to look forward to, how that can make all of the difference in the world. So I liked it because it was sweet and uplifting. But what do you guys think?
No, I get it. I think the scariest part about going to prison is not getting any pussy anymore. So, like, giving these guys a chance to get their hands on some puss is probably...
I think this jacket is doing something to you.
I'm just... Remember when Steve Urkel became Stefan Urkel? Yeah, I think giving the prisoners some puss is good. I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a euthanasia joke, but I don't think I want to do it.
I desperately want to know what it was.
All right, G. Well, I was going to say, wow, these kids in Asia, man, they must be a real freaking force out there. Everyone's worried about them.
These kids in Asia?
Yeah. They keep talking about the euthanasia. Now they're coming after cats. I guess the older ones eat dogs, the younger ones eat cats. I knew it was going to bomb. I knew it wasn't a good movie either. That's why I was like,
Good A for effort.
Way to see it through to the end, bro.
Yeah.
Way to see it through to the end. Yeah,
cut that out, Don.
it stays.
Thank you. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point, Candace. Like,
oh, not me? All right.
I think Candace makes a really good point when she says, like, so much of our crime and punishment it's draconian, right? It really is. Like, the concept of giving somebody a plant that they wanted could cost you 30 years of your life. The years and years and years.
Hey, don't gaslight Kamala like that, all right?
Ooh.
I know what you're doing here, Mr. Politics.
Those fires weren't going to put themselves out,
Yeah, you didn't fall out of a coconut tree. But how much of it is actually rehabilitation? I kind of think exile is an interesting concept, meaning like, all right, you are from an area, you commit a crime, well, now your LA privileges are revoked, right? Like, we're going to rehabilitate you, but then we're going to keep you out of the community. Like,
but then you're more likely to offend, especially if you're talking about expunging records, because like that's the whole thing with small communities, is that you were held to a certain standard, because if you committed a crime, everyone would know about it, and then your reputation would be damaged.
Bring back the stocks and all that stuff.
But then if you move away, it's like you get to start completely over. And I think if you do the time, like it should be forgiven. It shouldn't be a record again, unless it's a violent crime. I think that's a very reasonable exception. But other countries they have rehabilitation programs. Like you don't look at this place and it doesn't feel cold. There's not all of these wires, or what do you call it, like the barbed wire, and like they're actually it was a Michael, what was his name? He did the 9/11.
More.
Yeah, so he did a recent documentary, and like these prisoners, and these ones were actually violent, and they have sharp knives and they're cooking, and their rates of, I guess, what do you call it when they recommit? I guess
I can't remember the
what's the
word.
phrase?
Yeah, there's a term for it.
It's wildly low, like almost zero. So it's like if you treat someone like a criminal, they're gonna be a criminal, and you know it's.
Japan is kind of that way with the rehabilitation, but then you have the other end of the spectrum, and what they've done in Central America and like El Salvador specifically is like insanely barbaric prisons. The lights are on 24 hours a day. They have no beds. They have to sleep on the floor. Like that's. And crime is down to like zero in El Salvador. So there's that. You know, I don't have an answer for it. I feel for people that are in for things that I feel like are just unjust. And I just hate the fact that we allow the state to enslave its citizens. But at the same time,
eating something that, like, look at that mushroom that's growing in the field. If you pick that mushroom, if you eat that mushroom, if you give that mushroom to someone else, you're gonna go in a box.
Another man what to do.
That's crazy.
If we want to get into the war on drugs, I mean, a weed brownie, right? They'll try you, not for the amount of weed that was in the brownie, for the actual weight of the brownie itself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no. So you can have like a half-pound brownie, and they will try it as if the same as if it was a half a pound.
Is that out of ignorance, or is that because like there's a whole money-making machine and they want to put you in jail?
Well, that's the question, right? That's the
Let
question.
us know in the comments.
Yeah,
what
that's
you
the
think.
question. You know what else bothers me besides the criminal justice system in America?
What?
The more I learn about plastics in our food.
Oh yeah.
But I love chicken parmesan. And I want to see you guys watch how they make chicken parmesan in a high-end restaurant and tell me if anything jumps out at you.
Episode 8 of Secrets of a Professional Chef, how to make the best vodka chicken parm.
We use larger breasts and we trim them down. Plastic wrap underneath and on top. We start pounding the thicker side first. Flip it over, get the other side of it. So when you hold it up, you can kind of start seeing through the other side. And that's how you know when it's ready. So we're going to come over to our breading station here. We have flour, eggs, seasoned breadcrumbs. And we come over here to our sizzle plate. So we're going to start on our sauce first. Start off with really thinly sliced garlic. Basil leaves right in here. A little bit of salt, a little bit of chili. A little vodka. This is our house marinara sauce. So this is heavy cream. Kind of let everything come to a boil here. So we can get our chicken going. Place the other one on top. Really only, because it's so thin, it really only takes about a minute. So once it's floating, it's pretty much done. We have a nice light golden brown color there, which is perfect. A little bit of salt. You can add a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And then spoon it over the top like this. We're adding Parmesan cheese, nice even coating, a slice of mozzarella covered. We'll go in the salamander here.
All right, so from here,
So
real quick,
the plastic in the beginning, that's
right?
what got you, right?
That's what got me, and I know that these, like all the restaurants do it like this. There's no way you're not beating plastic into the chicken, right?
Bro, there's so much problems with like the food we're eating with the plastics, all that stuff is bad. Like even like tinfoil, you're not supposed to use tinfoil, cook with tinfoil. Remember, people would put a baked potato in tinfoil, like that. That's you're getting aluminum in your food.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Also,
aluminum foil.
let's end the charade. All right, big Parmesan. That's chicken mozzarella. That's not chicken Parmesan. That's chicken mozzarella. And also, it's not vodka sauce. That's cream sauce. It's the cream that
Put a
everybody
little
likes.
vodka
It's not
in there.
Yeah, it's
I love
nobody's
when people
there for
say
the vodka
vodka.
though.
I love when people say vodka. They don't hit the D.
I love vodka
It's
sauce.
such a East Coast thing. So vodka.
Ooh, vodka sauce is good stuff, boy. Vodka bolognese, like it's just you just add a little bit of cream to the marinara. It's good stuff. But also, professional chefs should know better. We have a wet hand and a dry hand when it comes to making cutlets. I mean, you're not using two hands and everything. Then you're making them. Regardless, the hitting that I see everybody do this. They mallet the plastic into the chicken, right? And it's like,
yo, there's so many problems with like microplastics in food. Like people in their like 30s are getting like asshole cancer
Really?
from that shit. Oh yeah.
Wow.
wasn't there something with like testicles? There's microplastics in the testicles they're finding in guys.
Well, it's going to be in your bloodstream, right?
Yeah, these might like. Do you need? So it's just so that the meat tenderizer doesn't stick to the cutlet. I'm guessing.
Yeah. And well, the problem is like you're overexposed in so many areas. So even if you're not doing that, there's going to be something else. Like if you go
I don't touch receipts anymore.
Yeah, receipts. You
I
get
don't
all
touch
forever
receipts.
chemicals in receipts.
Really?
There's I literally I'll say to them I'm like throw that out for me, or I say I don't touch it. Like I was at Costco the other day when I was leaving. I put the cart. I'll have like the money. I'll grab the receipt with the money because like that's where I have to have it. Usually I just tell them to toss it. I'll grab it with like the money. I'll kind of like shake it out in the cart, and then I'm gonna let them touch it. Like I'm not touching it. Because I'm trying to mitigate and lessen my exposure as much as I can, and I can't get rid of it all. Plastic water bottles, this, that, whatever. Drinking.
Your produce even is getting wrapped in it.
It's in a bag.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's so much plastic, and it's not good for us. And I know we're not gonna live forever, but
Pizza boxes. Did you know it's in pizza boxes?
What is?
Forever chemicals.
really.
Mm-hmm.
What's an example of a forever chemical?
Oh my gosh. There's
So I thought
there's an
with the
acronym.
receipt
What's up?
was that it's.
BPAs?
I thought with the receipt is that it's like since it's like freshly printed, it's like easier to like it like comes off. Like it can get into like your on your skin and into your
Interesting.
blood. I don't know if I just know try not to touch the motherfuckers.
The receipts, yeah, I know. Yeah, receipts are bad.
You just don't. There's things you don't think about. It's
You don't think about it. There's so
I
much
love
shit trying to
chicken
kill
parm,
you
and it's
out
like I
here.
don't want this guy beating plastic into my fucking chicken cutlet.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? There's just no way
Everyone
you can look at
knows
that.
the water bottles in the car. You gotta even plastic water bottles or plastic like if an oil container that's like seeps in. Like there's so much, dude. There's
Really?
so much. You're better off getting glass, like anything and everything.
And then the oils. Everybody keeps talking about these seed oils now, and the seed oils
in
basically
everything.
motor oil.
Oils are garbage because they're cheap.
Yeah.
So they put that in there because it's more expensive to use.
So what do you think that was
oil
being
or
fried in? That's not
Canola.
Probably
Yeah,
canola or
that's a seed
vegetable.
oil, right?
Yeah.
Canola, vegetable. So the good oils are like olive oil, avocado oil.
Yeah.
What else is
Coconut
that?
oil.
Coconut oil is good, and then
Tallow is really good.
That's and then like using like the meat fats like tallow or something like that.
There was a clip I saw. We're a clip show. I wish we could pull this up, Christian. But it was going viral on TikTok, and it was kind of like what you're talking about. Kind of look like Tom Cruise in Top Gun right now. It was. Well, I ate that back in the day, and I was fine. And they were looking at the ingredients of like McDonald's French fry in
Back in the
1950,
day.
and
It's
it was potato, salt, and it was
Tallow.
Ice cream.
in beef
Ice
tallow.
cream, too.
And now there was like 45 ingredients in McDonald's French fry now.
My friends, there's a dirty little secret about McDonald's French fries. Up until 1990, they were deep frying these in beef tallow. Beef tallow is a healthy, I repeat, healthy saturated fat that I actually use at home. But they changed and went opposite directions because now they fry in canola, corn oil, soybean oil, and hydrogenated soybean oil, some of the worst inflammatory oils ever. But to mimic that beef tallow flavor, there's something they're doing. They're using natural beef flavoring, which is a derivative of wheat and milk. So if you're a vegan and you're eating these fries, you're actually still having animal-based ingredients because they want that tallow flavor, but they want to use cheap as can be hydrogenated soybean oil, but they're doing it with the biggest lie in the food industry, natural flavoring. And what is the deal with these fries anyway? They have a cult following, but honestly, they're not even that good.
Shout out Buffalo Wild Wings. I hear they use beef tallow when they fry their wings, but I think also sometimes you might need to ask. Like I ask when I go, and they're like, I think that's what we do. I'm like, make sure.
Is that right?
But I think some will use seed oils because it's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And
these seed oils are apparently
but even like
remarkably
ice
bad
cream
for you.
back in the day, ice cream was like
milk, cream,
eggs, and like even
Sugar
like
and
honey.
salt. Yeah.
Like I think they even used to use honey as like, and honey's great for you.
Mm-hmm.
You put honey all over stuff. I mean, obviously you should work out and all that stuff, but you know.
Yeah. Anyway, I love chicken parm. I don't want anybody beating plastic into my chicken. And I'm sure somebody in the comments is going to be like, it doesn't. You pull the plastic right off. There's no way you're hammering plastic that's not getting into the chicken. Right. I mean, come on. You know, whatever. Anyway, transition.
Here is an interesting origin of a popular phrase.
During the Middle Ages, weddings were wild as hell. People getting killed, stabbed, all kinds of stuff going on. One of the common things that would happen during a wedding at this time is that somebody from an invading kingdom would come in and steal the bride away. That's not good. The groomsmen would have to be ready to throw down if need be. The groom's got to have somebody to help him out. So he would have whoever he knew who was most handy with the steel standing right next to him in case it went down. This person's title was the best swordsman. Now, over time, far less slicing and dicing at a wedding. So the title of best swordsman ends up getting shortened from best swordsman to best man. That is where the tradition of the best man comes from.
Interesting tradition.
Is that true?
Huh? I mean, according to this fucking guy.
He looks trustworthy.
I take it as,
He looks trustworthy.
Bible. I believe him.
He's a trustworthy chap.
Have you ever been a maiden of honor or maid of honor? What is it? Or you ever been a best man?
I've not been. I've been a groomsman. I've not been a best man.
I'm such a great man. I've been it 3 times. A best man.
You've been a best man 3 times?
3 times.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So far, probably
Same guy got married 3 times?
not 3 different.
If you get married once, and I'm in the wedding party, and you get divorced, and you get married again, you ask me to be in the wedding party again, am I still coming off with the $1,000 gift here, or like, am I still? How does this? I know. I should want to.
I thought you were about to say, I'm not going to take place in the nuptials. It's an abomination of the sacrament of marriage.
Like, we know some people that have been married 4, 5, 6 times. Like, at some point, I'm not sending a gift.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna give it a gift receipt, and you just go ahead and return it. You know, it's a lot of. It's very exciting to be, and it's very like humbling to be asked to be in somebody's bridal party, but it's also like a lot of work.
Next time I'm best man, I'm definitely wearing a sword though.
Best swordsman?
Yeah, I'm gonna honor this tradition.
You should really go after. And anybody who gets close to the bride, you're like,
Yeah, I'm like,
a lot.
like, Mickey, what the fuck is that? Best swordsman.
Yeah. Back in the day, the red weddings and all that stuff, right? I mean, that's everything in Game of Thrones was based on something that really happened in history. And, medieval Britain was a righteous place. Like, that place was nuts.
Yeah.
Prima nocta, right? And all that other stuff. So, but sometimes, I don't know if these things are, like, real or not.
I'm sure prima nocta went up in the lower third somewhere.
You know what prima nocta is?
Of course.
Yeah. And the best swordsman, imagine like you're just like you don't even know the guy, but everybody knows you're the best fighter in town.
Yeah.
You're like,
You're at weddings every weekend.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to do this.
Man.
Yeah. The guys
You have to propose to the best swordsman. Please, you have to offer them
my
something,
liege.
please.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The best swordsman, the best man. I love etymology. I find it so fascinating. Like, my 2 cents, I love that, man. My 2 cents, my 2 pence. Yeah, just like now, like before social media, the bar, the pub. Like, you know where we get the word pub? Public house, right? So the public house was the place everybody went and ate and drank. And if somebody was talking religion or politics, they had to buy a round for the rest of the bar. And so they'd give
To deal with your shit.
shit. So it'd be a penny for your thoughts. And then somebody else would want to argue, and they'd have to buy a round for the rest of the bar.
2 cents
my
in.
2 cents.
Got it.
And that's
So
where a lot of that
why
stuff
did we
come
change
from.
it to bar?
What's up?
Why did we change it to bar?
This is America.
America bar.
Feel
Interesting.
bad.
I don't know.
I know. I heard by the same guy who did that video. He put one up where there was like stuff going on in Ireland and England back in the day, and this one dude got excommunicated from the groups for some reason. So they decided to name it after him. The guy's last name was Boycott.
Is that right?
Yeah. So we still use that one today as well.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Same way, like, why America became coffee drinkers. Like, why did we drink so much coffee? It was like a giant fuck you to England because we didn't want tea.
We didn't want tea.
Yeah. Like, and now, like, this billion-dollar industry, and it just started as like we don't drink tea around here.
Yeah.
All that stuff I love. Like, I go nuts about that stuff. I don't know why. But to me, it's like you find like a little puzzle. It's like a little piece in the jigsaw puzzle. Like, oh, that makes us us. You know, I don't know why. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, next one. We're moving, guys. We're grooving here.
Women seem to like history less than men, I think.
I like history.
I'm not saying you, but in general, like it feels like women, there was that whole joke about how often do you think about the Roman Empire, and it's like I think about the Roman Empire every day, and it's like I don't know why, but I do, I absolutely do, but I've also always been a history nerd. But all the women in my life, my sisters, like smart people, really smart people, they couldn't care less about history.
Well, do you know what women do care about? Is a big bank account.
2 in 3 women under the age of 30 have a boyfriend. Only 1 in 3 men. Why? Because women are dating older. 24-year-old women are dating a 38-year-old guy. So the young guy has no options because any kind of high status or remotely, shit together woman is going older.
If you are a woman who is capable and competent and can do all those things on your own, they don't want a man.
My advice to men is simply put, get your shit together, get out, start making money. The truth is, if we're going to have an honest conversation around mating, women made socioeconomically horizontally and up, men horizontally and down. And when the pool of horizontal and up among men keeps shrinking because women are doing better, which by the way is a great thing, we should do nothing to do that. But the reality is, I don't care how many subscriptions to The Atlantic you have or how much you read the New York Times, women want a man. And their view of a man is that he makes as much or more money than me.
Yeah, it's Scott Galloway, right?
I think he's great. Do you like him?
He's cutting a nice niche out for himself as the common sense tough guy liberal. I like it most about him, but he always circles back to no, and I think it's great that women are doing, and I think it's incredible that like he always has to.
Always got to put that in.
He always has to pander and kowtow that the liberal progressive is right and it's a good thing. Like his whole thing is like we should claim our wins. These things have been working. This is
that
a good
is
thing.
a good thing. Are you saying it's not a good thing that women make money now and that we don't have to solely show up to the office and do whatever the boss says and wear the tight skirt and wear the lipstick and shut up and just pour him a drink because he's had a hard day?
Do I think it's a good thing? Sure. I also think it's a bad thing that women are thinking that being a mother is somehow less than being a working woman. I think the whole idea of a working stiff.
He didn't say that, though. He was just saying, like, now that they have a choice is how I got it. Like, women have a choice.
Sure, and that's good. And I was just making a comment on Scott Galloway in particular, who I think is mostly good, but he always has to do the whole, like, well, progressives are right thing. Same thing like Jon Stewart does and all these other guys. They got to stay in the cool kids club. But the concept of dating up isn't new. So this is, Cinderella. They all want the prince.
No, dating older, though. So when he was talking about up, I think he was talking about age specifically. So the new phenomenon is that, like, young men that would be getting this particular age group, like, I feel like the age divide, they say the perfect gap is about 5 years.
That's not true. Half your age plus 7. Muslims got it right.
They say the perfect age is about 5 years. And I think what's happening now is you have women that are jumping up 10, 15 years. And then sometimes even, like, I have so many friends that are with men that are 20 plus years. I know one girl, she's with someone who's 30 years older.
That makes a ton of sense. If you look at the convergence of what's happening in society right now, you're having a time of tumultuous economics, right? And that is converging with incredible improvements in youth science, whether it's testosterone, human growth hormone, anti-aging, peptides, Botox, whatever it is. A 50-year-old man, like we always make fun of the athletes, like Rod Beck looks like he's 60 years old. He was 29 years old in like the 1980s, right? So men are able to look younger, and in our economy, it's going to take somebody a very long time to accumulate the type of wealth, right? Now, what happens, I think, and I know you and I disagree on this point, The women that go for that, though, they run into trouble because that guy at 55 is probably still going to be able to get that same 27-year-old you were at 60, and then you're going to be 32. What stops him then from being like, well, I just want the hot young girl? You see guys and women, they tend to date even until like college is over, right? You don't see a lot of like 21-year-old college girls going with like older men. But then once you're in the workforce, right, who's your boss? Who's somebody that you know, you're going to look to as an authority figure? Who's going to make more money? People that are 10 years, 15 years older than you. Mm-hmm. To me, it makes a ton of sense. Mm-hmm. You know, who gets left out in this equation is the 45, 55, 65-year-old woman.
Yeah, and I guess that's the assumption. That's your assumption that men are going to constantly be trying to find a newer model, and I think that that's just not an accurate read of men. I think that's some men for sure, but I don't think most men that I meet are just like more. I would say even more devoted than the female in the relationship. Like they have made their decision, and like that's where they're putting their roots, and then they focus that energy on building their company or helping raise their family. Like I don't see strong men that are like, okay, I have to have the next shiny thing, because what he has with his woman is like a real partnership, and it's something that you build on. It's not saying he's not going to like look, you know, and appreciate something pretty that walks by, but he's not going to like jeopardize everything he built for.
I don't know. I think
newer model.
I think if you're going after somebody specifically because of their financial capabilities, right?
I think it's like a perk. I don't know if that's the majority or definitely not the entirety.
I'm just responding to the video, right? Mm-hmm. That these women make. I make a lot of money. I need somebody that makes more than me. Mm-hmm. That's fair. Everything about that is fair. But I also think then the fair other side of that is, you know, he can always have options, right? So I mean, this is kind of not new. What they used to say, the first marriage is for practice, the second marriage is for money, the third marriage is for love. Like, wasn't that the old like joke?
First marriage is for love, second marriage is for money.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, what we really should be talking about is like, is the concept of marriage antiquated to begin with? Is the concept of, you know, having to ask the permission of the state to copulate and then getting all of these different tax benefits, is that an antiquated concept, right? I mean, if somebody's really wealthy and the woman is willing, like, why don't we bring back bigamy? Like, doesn't Elon Musk have like 11 kids through like 10 women or something like that?
I think there's some people.
I swear to God, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. I think he has several, and most of them all get along, and they'll actually get the kids together. And the way that he's doing it, he's picking the women that he chooses to have children with very wisely, and they understand the way that he sees the world, and that he has like a massive mission. He's trying to like save the human race. He's not a typical person. And I think the way that he sees love is very different than most people, and he's finding people that agree with him, and I think that's beautiful. I don't like trying to force everyone into one model or making someone unhappy or like bend the knee to everyone else to make everyone else feel comfortable, because there's this idea if it's not for me, then it must not be for anyone else. Instead of recognizing like what he wants out of relationships in life is just wildly different, and he's not hurting anyone. He's doing it consciously with consent, and he's honest, and I think there's nothing wrong with how he's approaching love or relationship. So I think there's a lot of men. I mean, I meet guys all the time, and they don't know who I am, and like they'll talk to me. They'll be like, "Well, you know, I can never find someone because like I don't believe in." Well, they'll lead with, "I can't tell you because like it's just too off-putting. Like you're a woman, you're just gonna." And I was like, "No, try me." And then they'll tell me, and they'll talk about like their views on relationship and love and monogamy, and I'm like, I am your audience. Like you can tell me whatever you think, and I'm not gonna judge it at all. So I think there's a lot of men. It's just I think they're really scared to express that they want something different because they think women that think like them don't exist. But Elon Musk is a great example. Yes, he's the richest man in the world, but these other women are like also very wealthy, very beautiful. They can also have whoever they want, and they chose to be in a relationship that doesn't have borders.
Do you think that's the next iteration of this, that now that women are accumulating wealth and there'll be generational wealth amongst women, that the next iteration of this is going to be young pool boys going after rich older ladies? Or do you think that's just kind of not going to be something men do?
I don't think that dynamic's interesting to most women. I don't think most women want to be the more powerful one in the relationship. What I do see happening is different relationship styles. So not monogamy being like the guaranteed thing that you're doing, and then marriage maybe not being the guaranteed thing that you're doing. Maybe you co-parent. Maybe you you consciously choose to have babies outside of wedlock and you have an agreement there. Maybe you choose to not have kids. Maybe you choose to have multiple lovers. Like I see everything in my world. Like I know people that are doing it every single kind of way. And I see people doing it beautifully and they're so happy and thriving. And then I see people that their lives are on fire. So I think it comes down to like, what do you want authentically? How honestly are you communicating? And how organized is your life that you can manage all of these things? Because if you're trying to do too much at once, like you can't add extra people and that'll blow up your world, right? So there's this recipe that some people have kind of designed. I forget the author's name. He's like, you can have all of these except for one, and it's a passion, not a job, like a passion, a mission, a wife, children, a paramour, so like an additional lover, and a social life. So you can have 4 of the 5, but you can't have all 5. Then that's too many balls that you're juggling.
How do you approach that? I always wonder. Not that I would. Like, how do you approach like this idea of like, hey, I want to stay with you, but I think I also want to fuck other people.
It depends on your audience, because some people take it super personal. Like when I was talking to Michael Malice about it, he says the way that a lot of people see it is that if you bring up anything that's atypical, monogamish, open relationship, poly, they're all a little bit different flavor of the same thing, that it means that one foot is already out the door. And I'm like, that's not true at all. Like it's not true, because I know so many people that are in different relationships and they are the most committed I've ever seen. And so much so that this thing that is so charged for other people is like not enough to end the relationship or like make you waver. It's like, no, this is the person I'm going to grow old with. Like no questions about it. Like it's you and me on a rocking chair, but like we're young and we have all this energy and this is what I'm into. So hopefully you're picking the right partner. And if it's you're kind of auditing that in the beginning of the relationship. It's not something that you go into and then you're 10 years in and you say, actually, I want to do this thing. And I've been lying to you our entire relationship. I actually am a poly. Because like some people, the way that Ayla talks about it, it's almost like a sexual identity or sexual orientation. Like she sees no world where she could possibly be monogamous. Just like there's like no world where like
that's the one that had to leave Destiny.
No, that's Melinda or
Oh, okay,
something.
gotcha.
No, Ayla, she's like the sex researcher.
Oh, okay.
But she's very open about her lifestyle, and she's poly, and the way that she sees it
Slut.
is like she would say like fine. She's one of the coolest people. She's very, very, very intelligent, but the way that she sees it, it's just that's who she is. So she's not gonna ever date someone who's not, because it's immediately incompatible. So I think you get it out of the way in the beginning. Like either this is something you're interested in as well, or it's not, and then you find someone that is into the things you're into.
Like I'd like to introduce that, but also at the same time I can see myself being like, if she introduced it, I'd be like, hold up. Wait.
I don't know, and then you have to ask in like what context, because like there's like really cool parties you can go to, right? And then you have your own rules of engagement when you go to these parties, and like maybe that's your thing, is you just do parties together.
What's a cool party?
Yeah, there's some nice ones. There's some really nice ones.
There's some good party. There's some good hors d'oeuvres at this party. Yeah, it's good. My whole thing is like this, right? Like, you know, the idea. I only ever had the conversation one time and it went poorly, and she was like, I was like, look, she's like, yeah, if you want, we'll go 1 for 1, like. You get one and I get one.
No.
And I was like, that's fine with me. She was like, really? You'd be okay with that? I was like, absolutely. Fuck as many girls as you want. She was like, excuse me? I was like, well, I'm having a girl, so you can have a girl, right? Like, that's what you meant. 1 for 1, right? Like, I'm not having any guys, so I don't think you can have guys. Like, this is your rule. You said 1 for 1. I get a girl, you get a girl. I'm okay with it.
That's a red flag. If you have someone that we're measuring and stuff, then that means they're not okay with it.
They were not okay with it.
Yeah, they're not okay with it if they're doing that.
I thought my logic was flawless, though.
Yeah, that was really smooth.
I thought my logic was good. Like, I have 1 girl, you have 1 girl. To have 2 girls, you can beat me. But I'm not having any guys. I'm planning on no guys. So
if that changes, I'll let you know.
You're out on that, you know.
Yeah.
I got I got time for one more, and it's got to be a quick one. Speaking of pineapple parties, look at this sexy little swinger. So this whole page is just that. This whole page is just like physical therapy.
Yeah, it's stretching.
And it's stretching, but also at the same time, it is the funniest comment section in all of the internet. It's incredible.
Oh, really?
It's the funniest comments, dude. If you go back and look at some of those comments, it's incredible. It's like, gentlemen, we may be in different nations, but we have the same thoughts. And it's like, you know, one of the comments was so funny. One of the comments was like, "No, honey, he just stretches me. It's totally fine." Like, and then you show up, and the dude is like the Indian guy, like, you know. And you're sitting here like, that probably feels really good.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, come on. What are we doing? Like, that's a bondage swing here, right? Like, I mean, who's the first guy that's like, I got this great idea for a wellness center. Hear me out. We're going to take the chicks, and we're going to bind them to this swing apparatus. Go on. And we're going to have insurance cover it as rehab. Well, you had my attention. Now you have my curiosity, right? Am I the only one I'm dying here. Am I the only one that sees that? It's like, come on, what the fuck? It's a sex swing. Come on.
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to have sex on that thing, but maybe.
We're going to have some cunnilingus. Manja, manja.
Oh, my God.
Boy loves to eat.
Am I the only person? Am I a gooner? Am I the only person that looked at that? It was like, come on, you good? You sent me pictures of that, and I'm like, why are you going to see the physical therapist twice a day? What are we working on here? You gonna do that, Mick? You getting in that thing?
Nah, bro, that looks like that shit would fuck my back up.
Probably make your back feel really good.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Just all suspended like that?
Too fucking strong.
Too tight?
That'd break something.
Too tight?
Yeah.
Well, they say
Too hardwired.
They say it's not working unless it hurts a little bit.
Oh, God. No.
All right. Let's finish stronger than that.